This is Gary Atencio with Consumer News Television, and today we're in Denver, Colorado. We're at Heupel Law. Since 2007, this debt relief agency has been helping consumers rebuild their financial life. I'm here with the owner and founder. Kevin, I appreciate you joining us here today. Let's begin first of all with you growing up, basically within a successful family, possibly seeing some struggles yourself. Is this kind of the pieces that were put together that made you want to get involved in this industry?
Yeah, when I was growing up, my dad was in the car business, and he had a used car lot in Colorado Springs. His dream was to own a dealership one day, and so he bought a dealership in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. It was a Chrysler Plymouth, and we moved up there in the early 80s. But the thing was, there were two things going against him. One, there was a recession. Farmers were being hardest hit by it, so they were the ones buying the cars. They weren't buying cars because they were facing foreclosures. And then his partner had misstated the financials. So my dad's investment just kind of made the company limp along. And we ended up basically losing everything. And I think I was in 8th grade at the time it happened. We moved back to Colorado Springs and had to start over. And so what I've kind of learned from it is that when you're struggling with debt and you're going through it, there's an emotional side that has to be addressed. It's just more than money. It hurts your psyche, and there needs to be a rebuilding with it. And so when we have clients who come to our office, we understand that, one, they are emotionally hurting, they have a financial problem, and so we help them with both so we can find them a solution and we can get them out of debt.
I usually ask what type of clients your service is able to help, but quite honestly, there is no typical profile for the folks that walk through your door.
Absolutely not. I mean, people say, well, I'm not that type of person that files bankruptcy. And my response is, well, we're all 2 paychecks away from filing bankruptcy. You just never know when it's going to happen. The clients that I have, they've had businesses that failed. They lost their job. They had a drop in income. And they had this unexpected life event that happened. And so they had to turn towards debt just to survive. And then once they got back on their feet, the problem is the debt was too high that they found themselves in a situation where they could not repay it. And that's when they needed to get help.
Just like you touched on there, quite honestly, as many variety of people has come through the doors, there's even more variety of reasons why they got there in the first place. Basically, you've probably seen quite a bit in the few years that you've been doing this and helping folks across Denver.
Oh, absolutely. I've helped people who work on minimum wage. I've worked with people who have made over $1 million a year. They live in the city, they live in the suburbs, they live in the country, they live in the mountains. There is no one type of person who files bankruptcy or who needs help with debt settlement. What they have in common is that unexpected thing happened to them and they just had to survive.
So basically, you've got folks out there that have made some conscious choices, maybe bad choices, but quite a few more are really at the mercy of consequences that was beyond their control.
Oh, absolutely. I find that 99% of my clients, this happened beyond their control. It's very rare that I ever come across somebody who would be gaming the system, using credit cards, knowing that they're going to file bankruptcy. They're few and far between. The reality is it's good people, and that's where we got our motto from, is we help good people like you get out of debt.
It's not as scary as it's made out to be, and, I'd highly recommend, Heupel Law to file your bankruptcy case.
It's like getting a new lease on life, being able to have a second chance, and coming to Heupel Law gives you that second chance. They're professional, they're courteous, and we're glad we're here.
You began in 2007. Why is this service more relevant and important today possibly than even back then when you started?
Well, I think it's become more important today because the economy has just been suffering along for the last 6 years. 2008, we've seen a boom in foreclosures. People were losing their homes. There was a lot of rental properties that were going under. The recession hit. People were losing their jobs. Their income was dropping. And people were struggling. And so they had to find debt relief, and that's where they came from us. And we continue to have that help that we have to give to people because the economy is just not there to provide the support that most people need.
Absolutely. Speaking of support, I mean, quite honestly, out in the marketplace, we have many solutions when a person gets in this situation. I feel consumers that are disadvantaged because, quite honestly, this is new grounds. This is new territory. They've never gone here before. Is this really a critical point to make sure you turn to a professional like yourself?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much false information out there about debt relief. I think there's about 3 legitimate solutions that I always look at. There's credit counseling, that you use to repay credit card debt at a 5-year period, low interest rate. There's debt settlement, and that's when the debt's been sold to a collection company, and you can settle it for pennies on the dollar. And then there's bankruptcy, and there's 2 types of bankruptcy. There's Chapter 7 that wipes everything out. It's over in 90 days. There's the Chapter 13 where you can repay some of the debt at a budget you can afford over a 3 to 5 year period. And each one has pros and cons about it. But to find the right solution, it's really going to depend on that person's income, their assets, and what type of liabilities they have. I can't provide a one-size-fits-all solution to somebody's debt problem. And so when my people come in, or my potential clients come in, I look at those 3 things to find the best solution for them. If they try to do it on the internet, they're just going to get confused, they're going to get frustrated, and they're going to get bad advice.
Everybody, the whole staff, it was smiles, and this was going to be good for you. And it was a relief, and a ton of bricks off your shoulders, and if you sleep right at night, and they're there for you.
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if the garnishments were going to continue or not. I didn't know if I was eligible for Chapter 7 or 13 or really what to expect. So pretty much I had lots of fears going into this. I got lots of help. He told me all my options, what I needed to do, what I should expect, what I shouldn't expect. Really put my mind at ease. So contact Heupel Law immediately and go ahead and get the ball rolling and take care of the business at hand. So
I see many times when a person feels alone in a situation like that, we turn to our family, and as goodwill or great advice they may have, many times they're misinformed. They don't understand all the complications of basically postponing something can really add to that continuing struggle.
Yeah, I think you turn to your family for emotional support, but not for legal advice. And I have found time and time again that well-intentioned families will get bad information, especially when it comes to bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a federal law. It's been around for 200 years. You actually have a legal right as an American to get out of debt. But when people hear bankruptcy, like, oh, I'm not sure, that should be a last alternative, I wouldn't go there. And it's just people's misconceptions or lack of understanding. And so if you do go to a family member and you say, look, I'm thinking about filing bankruptcy, well, the initial action is going to be, well, no, I don't know if you should, but they don't know why. They don't know how the law works. They don't know all the intricacies about it. And that's why you just got to get to a third party who's detached emotionally from your situation, who can provide you with good, solid legal advice.
Wonderful. I mean, quite honestly, like you said, folks look at bankruptcy as a last resort, but when you put the facts all together, many times it ends up being the best resort.
Yeah, we see over 1,000 clients a year at our firm, and I find that 8 out of 10 people are good bankruptcy candidates. The other 2 out of 10, yeah, they're going to look at credit counseling, they're going to look at debt settlement, maybe a loan modification is going to solve their problem. But the reality is the bankruptcy laws are there to really help people get out of debt, and that's why it is the most common solution. I'm not saying it's the one-size-fits-all solution, but for most people, it's going to be the one that gets them out of debt to help them rebuild their life.
According to the Federal Reserve survey, quite honestly, debt is common. I mean, 3 out of 4 people were dealing with it. So really at that point, they shouldn't feel alone in that situation.
No, absolutely not. Never feel alone when you're struggling with debt. Over 30,000 bankruptcy cases get filed in Colorado each year. Millions of people enter credit counseling every year. This is a situation that affects a lot of people. And if you have student loan debt, I mean, that's in the millions of people who are looking at defaulting on their student loans. It's just life has become so expensive, and the income's just not there to support it. So it's just really not that surprising that people are struggling with debt. And the other thing is the banks make it easy to get debt, but they don't help educate you about how to get out of debt because they make their money on the interest. Banks want you to use the credit card. They don't want you to pay it off. They want you to keep making that minimum payment over and over because that's what makes them profitable with it. And so that's where people struggle is what's good for the bank is not necessarily good for the consumer. And that's what we help people with. It's understanding what is going to be best for them.
So quite honestly, that bank has very friendly salespeople when they're giving you that credit card, but then all of a sudden, lo and behold, those creditors can become a little abusive and basically step over the grounds. Are you able to help people there as well when basically it gets a little scary?
We do. I mean, there's a federal law out there called the Federal Debt Collection Act, and basically what it states is that anybody who owes a debt is entitled to truth, dignity, and fairness. And if you're not getting that from a debt collector, you have the legal right to bring suit against that debt collector and collect a $1,000 penalty plus any other associated damages. And we handle those for our clients. We do it on a contingency fee, where if you were getting harassed, I'd file that suit. The debt collection company would pay you $1,000, and then they would pay me my attorney fees for whatever it took to get you that money. And so, yeah, if you're out there getting harassment and debt collectors are treating you bad, then you need to call us because we can help you.
The process, was explained to me step by step, and the outcome was also explained to me. So it was quite easily accepted in my mind that it was the best for me, and that it's not a bad thing to do. It's a healthy thing to do, get yourself physically straightened out. The educational process that you go through, you must pass a couple of courses in education on financing and handling monies, and it was a real eye-opener to see where I had gone wrong in the past and how I handled my money. And credit cards definitely were my big problem. So now I know that if I want something, I can't have it. If I need it, I can have it. And if I've got the money on hand, then I can purchase what the items may be.
I've always said that basically fear is not being educated and not knowing about something. Obviously, folks need to turn to a professional throughout their lives, and this is no different. What about folks that are afraid of losing their home? Can many times that be avoided in bankruptcy?
Yeah, bankruptcy is a good way to save a home. There's a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and it really is the only legal solution that guarantees the ability to stop a foreclosure and keep your home. The way it works is you file the Chapter 13 prior to the foreclosure date. Whatever mortgage payments you have missed, you actually take them and you repay them back over a 3 to 5 year period while making your mortgage payment. And so we see that really helps for some people, because there were people who lost their jobs. They were out of work for 6 months. They were not able to make their mortgage payments. Now they're back on their job. Well, the banks won't help them. I mean, the banks won't say, yeah, pay us back over 18 months and all that. They don't. The banks, instead, they issue a notice of foreclosure, and so that's why the Chapter 13 helps. It's like, okay, well, I missed 6 months of payments. I'm going to repay those back to you, plus keep my home.
Folks, take a look right there at the bottom of your screen. What you're basically going to see is their website. On the website, you're going to see some of those bankruptcies that he's talking about, the different types. You're also going to see some of the different services that he had mentioned before and prior. Keep a look there as far as the references go. You've got testimonials from folks that he has helped. Quite honestly, he's one of the largest filers of bankruptcy here in Colorado. And also see they got professional references as well. Multiple locations to serve you throughout the Denver area here. Speaking of folks that are afraid out there, because like you said, they get on the internet, they're afraid to trust somebody, you quite honestly have a guarantee that no one else touches. Share with me what that is.
Well, I offer a money-back guarantee. I know that when you're dealing with debt and you're getting recommended to do credit counseling, debt settlement, or bankruptcy, that you're probably not going to have enough knowledge to know whether that's the right solution for you or not. But I'm so confident that it's the right solution for you that I'm going to give you a money-back guarantee. So if I say, look, bankruptcy is going to be the way to go, Chapter 7 is going to get rid of most debts for you. You're going to be able to keep your car, you're going to be able to keep your house, and that's why I want it. And if I can't deliver that, then yeah, I'll give you back your attorney fees. And I have not refunded any attorney fees since I've been in business.
It made us feel real comfortable and took care of all the necessary paperwork, let us know exactly what we needed to do to file. I would definitely say go to a consultation, get the info, go to the professionals. Heupel Law helped us out a lot, and they just made it feel real easy for us.
You teach more than just survival. You're basically teaching success, because even though a person's credit may be rough right now, your 7 steps to 720, that's basically making sure that down the road that sunnier days are heading your way.
Absolutely. When you're struggling with debt, one of the negative impacts is it does drop your credit score. Even when you file bankruptcy, it's going to drop your credit score 60 points. It's a reality. But it's not a reason to avoid bankruptcy. Because what bankruptcy does, it's going to wipe the slate clean so you can rebuild your credit. You just have to rebuild it smart. You need 3 lines of unsecured credit and only 1 installment loan. So we offer what we call the 7 steps to a 720 credit score. And what that is the 7 things you need to do, which you can get your credit score to a 720. The first step is get out of debt. And that's what bankruptcy, debt settlement, and credit counseling will do for you. After that, it's just going through the progressions. And if you do it within 1 year, after filing a Chapter 7, you can see your credit score hit 720.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's amazing. One of the ways you've continued educating folks out there is with some of your writing. Share with us a couple of the books you have here and what's the latest.
Yeah, this first one was called More Better, and it talks about the emotional roller coaster of debt, what you're going through, the fear and finding the courage and finding the trust to get out of the debt. And then my most recent book's called Get Debt Free with Me, where I touch again on some of the emotional impacts. But what I do is I go through all the debt settlement options that are out there. I go through student loan repayments, offer and compromises, loan modifications, bankruptcy, credit counseling, debt settlement, and I provide the pros and cons for each so that way consumers have an idea of how these really work. And we offer the book for free, so any potential client can contact our office. We'll send that book to them, and then that way they can read it. And if they feel like they need our help, they can come in, they have a bit of education, we can look at their situation, say, you know what, you're going to be best in this program. And like I said, I'll offer a money-back guarantee.
You explained everything to me and made it simple as possible.
With all my bill collectors coming down on me and medical problems, et cetera, I was afraid that I might not qualify, and I didn't know what I would do if I didn't qualify. But I finally made the call, and from then on it was a very good experience, you know. Very easy to follow, good forms, good instructions, and good staff. No problems whatsoever.
Your team, quite honestly, is part of your success here. Like you said, you know the emotional side of struggling through a situation like this, but you also understand the numbers behind it, the legality behind it. A background in accounting, has that helped you to solve some complex debt problems?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the numbers are second nature to me. When somebody comes into my office, within 5 minutes, I know what the right solution is for them. It's just how my mind works. I understand it. And then that way I can really focus on the client and start explaining to them why I like this solution better than the other one, how it's going to work, how it's going to play out for them, and how it's going to get them out of debt today so they can rebuild their financial future.
Rebuilding your financial future, and that is what it's all about. Since 2007, the firm here has been helping folks with multiple locations throughout Denver. If you are somebody who has found yourself in a situation, know that you're not alone. Know that you basically have professionals that can come to your aid and basically bring years of experience to the table. Someone out there who's thinking about reaching out, possibly they feel alone at this moment, they know they need to do something before basically they end up in a situation where they lose their home. Not only is that, but lose their family. What would you tell them?
Call us. We offer free consultations. You have nothing to lose. Give us a call, schedule a free consultation, come in, tell us your situation, and we'll give you a solution.
Once again, folks, take a look. That is Kevin Heupel, helping you in Denver, helping good people get a fresh financial start. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.